because when I want to turn my head, it doesn't go the right way.
Hello, everyone. We had a few technical difficulties. So I apologize for being late, but we are here, which is the most important part. For people who missed it, you can always check back later and watch, because Stephanie is a brilliant SEO professional, and I wanted to invite her on because we are doing an Edu-Series for Shop From Her Directory, which I'm really excited about. So if you are interested in being a part of that, definitely reach out. You can send me a message through direct messages or comment on one of my posts, whatever the case may be, or this post. But this is really about Stephanie, and I just want to take a second to introduce her and give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, Stephanie. What got you into SEO?
Wow, that is such a great question. I come from a family of women business owners. So my mother-in-law owns a business, a kitchen contractor company. My mom owns a business. She's a massage therapist. My aunt owned a business. So we're full of business owners. My dad even did, even though he's not a woman, but still. I was doing a little bit of work here and there for my in-laws and my mom to help them with their websites when I decided to quit my full-time job in corporate and try to just freelance from home. Um, I got into the challenge of trying to get them found for what they do. And that's quite a challenge. And the more you look into how to do that, the more you dive into the squirrely world of SEO,
Oh
which
yeah,
can
for
be as
sure.
complex and technical as you want to get. Um, and I loved it. It was like, you know, playing a sport almost. It was like how good can I get at this? How far can I rank their sites? How much business can I get them? And I really loved the aspect of it of writing content that people want to read,
Mhm.
writing content that people want to share, and also writing content that Google says, hey, we love this. We want to show this to people. Let's boost it to the top.
Yep.
So, doing that for my family is how I got started. And now I have a full-blown agency where we design websites, we do web development, we do SEO, we do Google My Business. It's great.
Awesome. Well, I brought you here because I really wanted you to be able to teach the women in the group a little bit about SEO basics. SEO is a beast. And honestly, it's super intimidating if you just don't even know where to start. So I know that, and I've been in digital marketing since 2007. It still intimidates me, but I have to know a little bit about it because my job is copywriting. So I have to know a little bit about it, and I learn more all the time. And oftentimes it's from people like you. So
Yes. Um, it can be a beast. And I always talk about SEO in terms of buckets. And really, buckets just mean fields you can focus on.
Mhm.
And there's technical, which has to do with your website, how it's built, how fast it is, if it's mobile friendly, if it's secure. Then you have off-page SEO, which kind of has to do with your social media signals back to your website. It has to do with other websites that link back to your website. Then you have on page, which is where content comes in. It's
Yeah.
all of the things that you do with the pages and the words on your website to make it friendly for search engines to read. But also, we want to make sure that we always keep the readers and the customers or the clients in mind, top of mind, anytime we are working on a web page and web copy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually creating a copywriting course right now, and one of the things that we address head on is readability.
Yes.
Um, so that's huge, I know, for SEO, and just to keep people on your page. If they don't understand what's there, they're not going to stick around, and that contributes to SEO,
It
correct?
absolutely does. Yes, Google does take notice of what we call dwell time. And
Yeah.
that is when somebody lands on your website, do they bounce right off or do they stay there? Do they stay on the page for a few seconds or minutes? Do they click through to any other pages? And I will give you some really great tips on how to encourage people to stay on your website, to go deeper into your website, and to go from a page that might not be a conversion-based page to get to a conversion-based page so that you can make that sale or get that contact.
Awesome.
One of the first things that we always talk about when we talk about content writing is we want to focus on a keyword. And keyword research is something that we could sit here for hours and talk about because it is gigantic and it can be complicated and you can use fancy, expensive tools to do it. But if you're just starting out and you're thinking, what should I write about? Um, what should I do? What are the topics? What I always tell beginners is go out and just start searching. What would you search for? Think about it because you're a user. What do you want to find? And you look at those websites that are ranking at the top or, kind of like first, second, and third. Look at their websites. Look at the words that they're using. Look at the titles of the page. Look at how long that content is. How many images does it have? What are the other things that it talks about? So we can get really, really in depth about like technical softwares like Surfer SEO or Page Optimizer Pro, which tell you some of the other words, or sometimes they call them LSI or entities, but this is way too technical.
Yeah.
What you need to do is literally just Google search a term, whether that's how to pick the ripest apples or ripe apples near me, whatever you're trying to rank for. And imitation imitation is the best form of flattery. Isn't that what they say?
Yeah,
Take
right.
what's already working, what Google already likes, and make it your own. Target your own audience, put your own spin on it, but use what they're doing, but do it better.
Absolutely. So when it comes to keywords, just to simplify it a little bit, the way I describe it, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Yeah.
I've been wrong before.
So have I. I'm not afraid of being wrong.
Yeah, so essentially, when you're looking at keywords, because people are like, well, what is that? It must be some deep buried word deep in my website, and I have to go dig for it. So, what I say to people is, what would people search for to find you?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Use that word or that group of words in your copy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
You're
correct?
absolutely right.
Okay.
And I am never never surprised by the amount of times when someone will say, Stephanie, my website is not ranking for what I do. And I'll get to their website and I say, well, you never actually said what you do or where you do it.
Yeah.
So you should, start at the beginning, dumb it down for yourself because people always want to jump to like the long tail keywords and get really in depth with it. But I'm like, if you're a massage therapist in Toledo, Ohio, come right out and say it. That's what you need to do. So
Right.
massage therapy, Toledo, Ohio. There's a
Absolutely.
good keyword. Those are things people are searching for. Or, you can even go into more detail on other service pages like deep tissue massage or trigger point therapy. But you always want to mention where you're doing it if you're a
Right.
local business.
Totally. So step one really, or tip one is really just keywords,
Yeah.
right?
Identify
Nobody,
your keywords,
yeah,
figure out what
nobody
they
knows what
are.
they're looking for.
Yeah, and then go out and look at what's ranking for what your keyword is. So if I want to look at massage therapists in Toledo, Ohio, I'll just search for that and look at what's ranking in the top three. What I will do is I will look at like what size is the website? How many pages do they have? Do they talk about the different services they have? Do they have a blog? And
Right.
those are all things like in a broad scope that you need to use when you plan out your content plan.
Awesome. Well, let's move on to the next tip. And as we go on, please drop your questions so that Stephanie can circle back. I'm keeping an eye off to the side at questions. So go ahead and start asking. Go ahead, Stephanie.
All right. So, kind of related, absolutely related to keywords is search intent. So, you want to know with that keyword, why are people looking for you? Are they looking for directions to where you're at? And that might be, um, you know, supermarkets near me or supermarkets Toledo, Ohio. They might be searching for the best supermarket near me. And that might be informational. They're gathering information about a purchase. They might be looking for top rated washers and dryers or buy washers and dryers. So the difference between top rated washers and dryers and buy washers and dryers is search intent. One is informational, they're still in the information gathering phase, and the other is they're ready to buy. And you want to have a mix of these things on your website, but anytime you're writing content, you want to be aware of what that search intent is and satisfy that search intent in your content. So you're not going to do, if you're looking at top rated washers and dryers, you're not going to send them to a page that just has one Samsung washer with a buy now button.
Right.
You're not going to want that. So
why not?
yeah. So when you're thinking about how to structure that content or what needs to go in with that content and that keyword, think about why. The whole why around people are searching for this term. What might be happening with them? If people are looking for, dog brushes, their dog obviously has some sort of issue where they need brushed. Most dogs do.
Right.
What kind of dog though? Are you looking for dog brushes for different fur types? Is that what you want to add into your content? And kind of along those same lines, make it fun to read. And when I say make it fun to read, don't just make one big wall of text. Keep it short, keep your sentences flowing. And I personally will always stay on a page when there are lots of graphics.
Yeah.
When you have infographics, when you have imagery, all of those things are great for SEO because people stop and they look at them. One of my favorite things to do lately is to summarize that blog post in a video or add a related video. We'll host it on YouTube and then throw it in the blog post, and people will go through, look at all the graphics, and then they'll stop and watch the video. That really increases your dwell time, it reduces your bounce rate, and it makes it really engaging for that reader.
Awesome. So just to kind of stop for a second, because Google is still the #1 search engine in the world, correct?
Correct. Yes.
And is YouTube still #2?
Yeah. YouTube
And
is a search engine. A
yeah,
lot of people don't think that.
right.
Yeah, Pinterest is a search engine too.
Right. Yeah. So it's really interesting the dynamics between YouTube and Google. Since Google does own YouTube, it can only help, especially if you're adding those keywords to your videos, and then you would know whether to embed or not. But that gets into more intricacies. But yeah, definitely use those graphics because it keeps people moving down the page. So think of how you read. Think of how you like to read. Do you spend a ton of time on a page with 800 words? Probably not.
No. And especially if we're formatting for mobile devices, long form content is great. Really break that up into blocks and sections. Be very clear with your outlines. I mean, go back to like high school and early college. And if you're planning out content, even if someone else is writing it, really make a strong outline so you know how you want to structure and organize that page. And when you have a logical flow to the information, people keep going down. And you can encourage that through the use of graphics or, design in your website. You can get as fancy or as plain as you want, but really you want to do it in small bits, especially to accommodate people who are on mobile devices.
Right. Totally. Awesome. Okay.
One of the next very, very, very important tips that no one ever does, and I wish that they would do this more often, is a strategy called internal linking. And when I was talking about how to keep people on your website, keep people going through your website to different pages, or to take somebody from an informational page to a transactional page where you're having a call to action and getting them to buy or book with you, you're going to want to do some internal linking. So within the content of your blog post, let's just hypothetically say we're writing a blog post, you're going to think of other pages on your website, other topics that you have that you can mention on that blog post you're writing. So if I have a blog post about the best red apples, I might link it to green apples. I might link it to apple recipes. I might link it back to my homepage or contact us if you have questions about the apples we sell. There are, unlimited amounts of opportunities to do internal linking, which not only helps keep the readers on your page, but when Google goes out and crawls your website, Google actually uses some crawler bots to crawl your website, and that's how it knows what the pages on your website are. And then it indexes it, and that's how your website gets found in search. We want to encourage Google to crawl all of your website. We want to make it very easy for Google to do that. And internal linking is one of those ways. And having a very organized website structure is another one of those ways. So internal linking is very important. And then also, when we're thinking about content, we can break our content into different pieces. And when I say that, I mean, if I have, we'll go back to my mom's example with the massage therapy. She offers different types of massage, which are beneficial for different problems. So each one of these types of massage might be linked out to different pages of issues people are experiencing. So you want to connect related pages. And this can get complicated. And sometimes I think it's easier if I draw a diagram, and maybe I'll do that and share it with the group, show
Awesome.
how those kind of content silos work. But really, when you're thinking about it, think of like an encyclopedia where you're having related information with other related information all linked together.
Exactly. Exactly. So essentially, one of the really great ways to use those internal linking sources that you're talking about is through blogging. If you're just building a website, you can still do it. And I often do it with clients' websites that I write the copy for. So I will, let's say I'm writing copy for a speaker, right? They're known for marketing or whatever the case may be. So what I'll do is I'll write their bio, and then I'll write their speaking topics, and then I'll say, for more information, don't hesitate to contact us. And then I'll link that to their contact page, right? So it's a minor thing, but it is still internal linking. There are still opportunities for that if you don't have a lot of content on your page yet.
Oh, absolutely. And even with some of my 5-page websites, I make sure that all of the pages are linked to each other in some form. If it's, if it doesn't make sense, then we don't do it. But for the most part, you can always link back to your homepage on every other page of your website. You can
Yes.
always find a way to link to, location pages. And, my role as an SEO, I deal a lot with local SEO.
Okay.
So we have a lot of service pages and we have a lot of location pages. And then sometimes we have how we help, which are either conditions or problems you might be trying to solve. And in that, we always find ways to internally link them to other appropriate pages. And think of it as, what else might the user want to know if they're landing on this page? If they're looking for, headache treatments, they're looking for ways to, like, holistic ways to treat their migraines. You might want to link them to, if you're looking for more help, you can link even outside sources like the Mayo Clinic. And that's always a great way to show some authority on your website. You're linking out to other websites that are the authority on the subject, where they might find more information. And that really gives a good indicator to Google that your content is what it's about. So if you're writing about migraines and you link to the Mayo Clinic migraine page, Google's like, yeah, we're really confident this is about migraines.
Right. Absolutely. So just a quick question, because I want to be respectful of your time and you provided a ton of information already. What do you think about blogging? Does every website need to have a blog?
I love blogging. I feel like every business has something to say. Not every business owner wants to take the time to blog,
It is
but
time intensive, yes.
the alternative to that is that there are people like you that can do it for them.
Right.
And we can be the experts while they're the experts at what they do best. Um,
Absolutely.
I think most websites would benefit from a blog of sorts, and it's not always called a blog. On one of
Mhm.
my contractor websites, it's called Projects We Love. and
Mhm.
they talk about the different projects that they've worked on. It can be anything when you
Yeah,
think
on
about it.
mine, it's on my website, it's called Our Voice. So it's
Yeah.
just like, we're about storytelling and getting the message out about how we show up for our brands. So that's what we named our blog category. Are there any specifics that people need to know? I know 1,200 words is kind of where you want to be on the blog. So can
Just
you?
roughly, yeah, but it's always good, and I always come back to this. It's always what you want to do to go back and look at what's already ranking, because that might be 800 words, that
Okay,
might be 2,500 words.
sure.
Sometimes the number of words that you need to aim for is dependent on what's already ranking, that keyword difficulty, how many searches are coming to that keyword. And just to drop that out for anybody that's really curious about keyword research, you can always sign up for a free SEMrush account and get into the keyword research yourself. There's also Ubersuggest and a few other free tools, and I'm sure that we can add those to this chat later on to help people that might want to do some keyword research on their own. One of the things I didn't want to forget about blogging is that make sure that you are sharing that on your social media pages. Make sure you're working to get views on that. Send it to other companies that might benefit from sharing that on their pages. I have a dryer vent cleaning agency where we wrote about the hazards of dryer vent fires, and we shared that in a mom's group, to help people understand better. We got the views there, but it's also a way to get those social signals back to your website, which Google loves. And
Absolutely.
it's also a way to get new eyes on your content even before it's really ranking very high.
For sure. Thank you. Thank you. We did have a question come through
Great.
from Judith. She said, what do you think about summarizing a Facebook Live for the blog and then linking to the live video itself? Would that work, or would that work best to link to Facebook, or uploading the video to YouTube work better?
I always love to upload to YouTube and then embed to a blog post. Um, Facebook changes so frequently that things get lost, they get buried. I really just love to make sure things are on YouTube. It embeds in the website really well. It doesn't slow down your website speed, um, rather than like hosting it on your own site. I would always do it that way. But I think, I've had video interviews that we've done like this where I've had them transcribed, and then
Mhm.
I'll put the transcription in the YouTube video, but then I'll do it with the blog too, and I'll link them all together.
Absolutely. That's a brilliant move.
And you can always test it. Like, that's one of the beautiful things about SEO, is that if you're curious if something works, try it out. Like, one of the most fun things that I do in SEO is just try it and see,
Yeah.
you know?
But the C part is very important. So let's talk just a minute about how do we see? Like, how do people know how their blog or their website is performing?
Oh my goodness. So if you have a website at all, there are two really important things that you need to set up. And that first one is Google Analytics. Make sure that you have Google Analytics attached somehow to your account, and that you are tracking your views, your traffic, and even like you can set up goal tracking so you can see how many people are clicking on contact us or doing form fills or going through a flow. You can see where people drop off on your website. So if you have a piece of content that's performing really poorly and people are just like bouncing off of it, you might need to revisit what that search intent is for that piece of content. Is why is it not satisfying the reader? Why are people leaving?
Right.
So it gives you really great feedback on what you can do better. The next one is Google Search Console. Google Search Console really helps you understand, what are the different keywords that your website's ranking for, the different pages. Between Google Analytics and Google Search Console, you can get valuable data from your website that, even if you're kind of overwhelmed by it, somebody like me can take a look at it and say, hey, I think you can do this, this, and this better pretty quickly, and really make some progress on this, this, and this page.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's not that you have to do the work. You can literally just guide them on what they need to do. I think that's sometimes kind of a roadblock for people is they
Absolutely.
think that they have to outsource their entire SEO when they can literally just hire someone like you to say, guide me, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And one of my favorite things to do is work with small businesses, and I've been doing this for the last year and a half during COVID, really extensively, working with female-owned businesses and helping them really get their websites up so they can have an online presence.
Mhm.
And we will do just short, half hour Zoom meetings where I say, let's get your analytics set up. Let's look at your website. Here's 5 things that I think you could do better, and here's how to do them. And
Um,
it's not like a huge investment. It's not an ongoing investment. It's kind of like a one-time little project where you leave feeling empowered to work on your own website, but you also know that you have somebody in your corner if you get stuck.
Sorry, someone was racing outside my window, apparently. Did you see my eyeballs get
Yeah,
this?
I heard it too. They're not coming in your house.
Real life. This is what happens. Trisha wants to know, are Google Analytics and search content free?
Absolutely. You don't have to pay a thing. You just need a Google account and to follow their instructions on how to connect that. Connecting Google Search Console and Google Analytics is a little bit different for every website. And I'm definitely happy to help with that. If anybody wants to reach out, I can help guide you. We can find some resources on how to do it. It can be an intimidating process at first, but it's not something that you can't get the hang of, and I love it because it is free.
Okay, so Trisha has another question. Also, have you heard the photo is considered dead and eyeballs? I don't know what she's asking. She's probably laughing hysterically. This is my cousin.
Can you translate?
Translation, please. Okay, before we run out of time, I want to make sure that you get your spotlight too. So, where can people reach out to you? I know that you have your own company and I know the website, but I want you to pitch it.
Yeah, yeah. I am happy to do these little audits, basically, where we look at your website together. Send me a message. I'm happy to take a look at it for the ladies in the group. I would love to give you, a couple of really obvious tips and hints and answer your questions. I want to be a resource for you. So you can message me on Facebook Messenger. I'm always available there and love to chat there. Or you can visit me on my Facebook page for Toledo Web Designers in digital marketing. Or you can visit me on my website at toledowebdesigners.com.
Awesome. And Trisha did clarify. I think what she's saying is, do people want to see video versus pictures? Do the search engines care?
Gosh, that's kind of a hard question to answer. I know that video is really, really powerful. I personally don't love to sit around and watch videos because I'm a full-time mom in addition to being an agency owner and running my Facebook group. So I like to see things and read things. So I love when a blog will have a combination of the two, or they'll transcribe what's in the video so I can read it at night and not wake up my kids with the volume of the video. But everyone is saying video is where it's at now,
Yeah,
and I always encourage my clients to have some sort of video on their sites.
yeah, for sure. And if you do decide to move forward with video, definitely caption it. There are tools to be able to do that. But that's
Yes.
another video altogether. So,
Yeah, yeah, making it accessible for everyone is really important. And also, like, I'll just drop this here. A lot of people don't know to add alt text to their pictures when they're uploading them to their website and blog. That's how the visually impaired and Google know what's in that image. So make sure when you're uploading photos, you're, utilizing that alt text field and
for sure.
helping the visually impaired see your website.
Absolutely. Well, Stephanie, thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope every woman in the group watches this because it has been so full of information, good information. So
I mean,
thank
we
you.
could sit here for 5 more hours talking about SEO, so I'll have to come back.
We will do it for sure.
All right.
So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.